So, if you're stuck in silver or gold, or you're just trying to improve your skill in general, in this video we'll go over some of the biggest mistakes that I and many others have made in Magic the Gathering. If you find this video helpful, please make sure you like and subscribe for more MTG content, and let's begin. And the first starts with your deck. Now, it's very easy to just go online, look at what the top meta deck is, and try playing that. But rather, I think you should play a deck that you're comfortable with instead. You can also play, I think playing a red aggro deck is super fine and easy, at least until you get to Plat. That's when you might start needing changing up the style, but in the early ranks, bronze, silver, gold, you'll get your games done fast, and the red deck will win about 60-70% of the time. So play a deck you're comfortable with. Try to avoid the meta unless you think you're able to play that deck. I know there's been a few times where the meta deck has been somewhat complicated to use and people would try playing it, and I've seen so many people mess up the combo for combo decks or miss their triggers, and then it feels really bad when that happens. The second, ties in the first one, is to know the meta. Now, this doesn't mean play the meta, it just means to know it. This is actually very important if you're playing a control deck, especially, so you know what cards you need to watch out for. But in general, this will tell you what decks that your opponent might be playing just by the colors that they play in like their first few lanterns. So you can do something as simple as go on a website. Like for me, I use MTG Goldfish. Go to their standard meta game, for instance, and you can see that all the meta percentages, what decks they are right here. So know the meta, know what cards you think they'll be going against, and that should also help you boost up yourself quite a bit. So now, at number 3 is don't be afraid to mulligan, even if it's more than once. In the beginning, I know many beginning players never want to mulligan. They don't want to lose that one card, and it's especially even harder for people to get it through their head that if they mulligan once and they still don't have the hand that they need of a good array of lands and spells to mulligan again, down to 5. You're more likely to lose if you keep a bad 6 or 7 than you are if you mulligan down and get a good 5. Don't be afraid to mulligan, it's fine. The fourth one is play it slow. Sometimes, I know for me especially, I have this problem a lot where I'll be going through after getting some momentum and I'll just keep playing and I'll completely forget about stuff and it will screw me up. Some things to be aware of with this is pay attention to how the auto tapper taps your mana. For instance, in this deck especially, I have a lot of problems with it. If I'm not paying attention to auto tapper, especially if I'm playing like a Wolf Willow Haven into another card, sometimes it will auto tap a land that I need, or it'll tap too many lands and I won't be able to play that second card in the turn. The auto tapper will sometimes tap the wrong types of mana. This also happens with something like Mystical Dispute. So say you have 4 mana, one of them is blue, right? And you have a Mystical Dispute and you have a 3 mana card. Sometimes the auto tapper will tap, well, if you play that 3 mana card first and you want to save up for a Mystical Dispute, if you're going to get the blue deck for instance, then the auto tapper will tap that blue mana and then you lose out because it won't register that you could use that blue mana for a Mystical Dispute in case it happens. So keep an eye on that auto tapper, make sure to manually tap if it looks like that it's going to tap the wrong colors of mana that you need. Second, pay attention to the colors of mana that you have available. I've actually done this quite a bit too, where I'm not paying attention to what lands I have, like in this 3-color deck. I'm not paying attention to what land spread I have, and then I'm missing out on the second black, or maybe for Emergent Ultimatum it's a 3rd green. I don't have that and I don't see it. And there was one time specifically where I needed to play a Shadowless Verdict, but I didn't have that black. But I had a Clearwater Pathway, and I didn't see that I didn't have that black, so I played it as the blue land instead of the black land. And I couldn't cast my Shadowless Verdict, and I lost the game because of that. That leads to step 3. Think about what you want to do before doing it. So, going back to the example I was saying in the beginning, think about what you want to do if you want to play Wolfwillow Haven into something else. Think it out in your head before moving it into action. It will help you it will help you visualize it and maybe see something that you wouldn't have seen before. I think this is especially helpful if you say Heartless Act of Bone Crusher Giant. You go through that motion in your head, thinking about what will happen. Say if you're at 2 health and you accidentally do that, that would kill you. But if you thought about it in your head, maybe you'll catch it and stop yourself from doing it. Tip number 5 is to learn when to use your instance. I'm still having trouble with this myself. Sometimes I use my instance at the wrong time. I'll use them on my turn instead of my opponent's turn. Sometimes I'll use it in between triggers at the wrong time. Very important to use your instance at the right time, especially like something like the rogue deck going around with all these flashes everywhere. So the Zagoths going around, I think it's called. No, not Zagoth. What's his name? The Demir rogue. Let me see if I can find it out really fast. Zareth, that's his name. This guy right here. Sometimes I've gone against this guy way too many times where I have killed a creature at the end of my turn. He just summons another one and then flashes in this guy when I could have just waited for him to flash it in, then killed this specifically, and it wouldn't have ever been a problem. So make sure you know when you do your instance. You're going to want to do them your opponent's turn mostly, but that also doesn't mean always on your opponent's turn. Sometimes you will need to do it on your turn. So it's just about learning when to use those instants. And also, tip number 6 is learn how to order your triggers and when to order them. It's especially important in this deck I have right now when you're Emergent Ultimatuming, for example. There's some cool combos you can do with, say, for instance, Vorinclex and Volky. If you set your trigger right, you can set Vorinclex first, so that Volky comes in afterwards in his Tibalt form and automatically has 10, so you can instantly ult. But you'll only know to do that if you know how to do your triggers correctly. So make sure you learn how the trigger system works, how to do it correctly. You'll be able to open up a ton more combos and opportunities like that, knowing when to do different activate abilities, triggers, all of that good stuff should help you get out of gold into plat, into diamond, maybe even mythic. I've been mythic a few times myself. Very easy to do if you can follow these tips. So once again, if you found this video helpful, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.